For as long as I'm sure most of us can remember, we've always known the big three of Shonen Jump: Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, the series that implanted itself into the childhood of millions of anime and non-anime fans alike as a staple of the shonen genre. One Piece, the everlasting monolith that shows no sign of stopping, outpacing all other manga in the history of Japan for the most amount of copies sold by an outrageous margin. And Bleach, the younger brother of the three siblings who gets praise for trying. The big three used to be inescapable no matter where you went, whether it was conventions or manga stores. You couldn't help but be grabbed by the enormous grasp that the ninjas, shinigami, and pirates had on the anime world. And animated world at that, seeing as most exposure came from the three anime adaptations being on mainstream television even in Western countries. But as Bleach and Naruto ended, One Piece of course still going strong as ever, for many years now questions have been raised of what will be the next big three. My Hero Academia has been dominating the market for a couple years now, recently rivaled by the darker Jujutsu Kaisen. And while the Black Clover anime gets a lot of flack, the manga continues going strong, with almost 300 chapters detailing the adventures of Asta becoming the Hokage. Wait, no, that's not right. Pirate King? Number one hero? Oh, here it is. The Wizard King, of course. And even though there's smaller names like Boruto and Chainsaw Man in the reserves of Shonen Jump, we of course have to acknowledge the outstanding and unprecedented explosion of Demon Slayer, starting in 2019 and continuing to the present day with the recently released Mugen Train movie worldwide. So today I'll be discussing what are the next big three, which series have the potential to live up to that name, and also why the original title of Big Three can probably never be replicated again as anime moves on to a new era. There will be anime that surpass them, I'm sure, which will be what I try and explain today. But before we get into it, subscribing to the channel would be a huge help, since a lot of my viewers aren't yet. I would appreciate the support. Let's go. Now everyone knows the original Big Three, so there's no reason to go into too much depth in any of them individually, but the Big Three did set an important standard as a collective. That is, for what a good, long-running shonen should aspire to do. The demon trapped inside the teen boy from Naruto that we've seen in Black Clover and Jujutsu Kaisen. The journey to become the head honcho from both Naruto and One Piece that we see in one way or another in almost every shonen nowadays, whether it's just becoming stronger, working up the ranks of an organization, or being just as on the nose like in Black Clover to become the Wizard King. And these things always get made fun of or teased, mainly because we see these tropes so much. But of course, we see them so much because, frankly, they work. They attract audiences and keep them entranced in this journey to the top, to beat and tame the monster inside of you and prove everyone else that you can do it. Which leads me to my first point, which is the creation of mainstream shonen tropes by the Big Three. Granted, Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach weren't the first manga or anime to have this shonen pizzazz, to make this well known. Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Fist of the North Star are some of the original trailblazers for this genre. But with the combined power and popularity of the Big Three amongst audiences that extended even to non-anime watchers, it set the standard for what would come. These journeys cemented themselves in the lives and childhoods of so many youths, which is something that is difficult to replicate as time goes on. I elaborated on this in my video about ecchi anime, which you should check out, I'm pretty proud of it. But the broad idea is basically that, as time goes on, anime continues to get more oversaturated and competitive, with dozens of new titles being released every season. And as this happens, the feeling of originality does gradually disappear. Not to say that new anime aren't original at all, but comparisons are always being drawn to older or more popular shows. And this puts new manga or anime that aspire to become the new Big Three in a difficult position, as making a name for themselves is very hard among the hundreds of other anime aiming for that same spot. But of course, disregarding the Big Three's feeling of originality, the nostalgia that probably can never be replicated again, there are certainly new manga that have reached similar levels of popularity, or at least show potential for it. The one I feel obligated to mention first is, of course, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer came out of 2019 as not only the biggest anime, but the biggest manga of the year, which is certainly a feat to mention when you're up against the immovable colossus that is One Piece. I mean, it's the only one remaining of the big three for a reason. Beating out One Piece by 2 million sales was already a notable achievement in 2019, but its absolutely unprecedented impact on the manga community in 2020 would soon come to blow that out of the park. In 2020, the Demon Slayer manga sold over 82 million copies. That's right. The difference between 12 million and 10 million in 2019 in only a year became a difference of 75 million copies. There is no doubt that this year was one that will forever remain in history books for manga and anime fans, especially considering the other surprise that came that same year, that the Demon Slayer manga was ending. And this brings in my second point, the longevity of the big three. Granted, I don't personally think it's ever a good idea to stretch a manga out if it's reached its satisfactory ending. This is definitely something that Bleach suffered from after the Arrancar downfall arc, something that bothered anime and manga readers alike. But even if it ended here, it still would have finished at 423 chapters, a very long serialization period. But Demon Slayer ended only at 200, far shorter than probably anyone even expected. But while the manga was shortened, the anime continues going strong, as Mugen Train has surpassed Spirited Away in Japan and worldwide now as the highest grossing anime film of all time, just adding to the list of accolades for the series. But there's something kind of terrifying about knowing that there is, in fact, an end already in store for the series, that there's already a deadline. Even One Piece, which is supposedly over 60% done, a stat that came out like a year or two ago, in One Piece time, that's like another 5 years minimum of the manga being serialized. What I'm trying to say is that there was a certain lasting impact that the big three had on the anime and manga community. Not just because of the enormous levels of popularity that they've reached that Demon Slayer has done as well, if not surpassed, but because they continued to come out and reel more people in as the manga and anime got into more diverse arcs. I don't think Demon Slayer's popularity will go down anytime soon, of course, but instead of following the legacy of the big three, it's creating an entirely different path than them instead. And on that note, let's get into the manga that are still going and show the most potential to become the, I guess I'll call them the next big three for now: My Hero, Black Clover, and Jujutsu Kaisen. Just as the world realized that Demon Slayer was ending and reluctantly struggled to find a new replacement in the new big three, Jujutsu Kaisen took the anime world by storm. And these three manga, though I don't personally read Black Clover, just Jujutsu and My Hero, definitely have a lot of promise for the future to come. Both My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen have entered into game-changing arcs for this series in the manga, and honestly completely turned the story sideways, coming out of the intense and incredible Shibuya District arc in Jujutsu Kaisen and Paranormal Liberation War arc in My Hero. Though My Hero has recently entered its quote-unquote final arc, similar to One Piece, that could still be a matter of years to come, so I wouldn't really say that the series is ending anytime soon. And this brings me to my last point, which is the new standard that these manga are setting, straying away from that shadow of the big three. I don't think anything can necessarily follow in the footsteps of the big three, like I was saying earlier, but we can certainly change and improve on what they lacked. Jujutsu Kaisen, though it's not as evident yet in the anime as it is in the manga, is way darker than any of the big three or My Hero, and is certainly bringing an aspect to mainstream shonen that anime watchers aren't yet used to in this genre. My Hero is also, in my opinion, going in a very unique route in the last arc and arc to come. One that, while not necessarily completely new to us readers, can and will definitely take the already popular manga and anime onto further, more mature levels. And, I mean, I don't read it, but I'm assuming that being almost 300 chapters deep, Black Clover's probably doing the same thing. And so I think anime and manga is kind of moving on from the big three, which are commonly associated with, our childhoods and growing up. Of course, One Piece is an exception to a lot of these generalizations because it just keeps getting bigger and better. But the new big three, if you want to call them that, are bringing a level of maturity to Shonen Jump that I'm really excited to see. One that reflects the oversaturation of anime nowadays, and the growth of shonen from just being a kid with a demon inside of him becoming the Hokage, to much more mature and in-depth exploration into these darker tones. And just as an end note, I didn't intend for any of this to make any of the anime I've talked about seem better or worse than any other, if you felt that way. I think that my main point was that there's a certain connotation with the big three and their legacy that I don't think can ever be recreated. Instead, modern anime will make their own name, I'm sure, and be remembered in time for that. What do you guys think? Are you excited about the future of Shonen Jump and anime? What do you think about Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Black Clover, all of it? Leave a comment. As always, this has been the Anime Culture Corner. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future in-depth show, manga, and character analyses.